It was pretty amazing, the answers that we were getting from him. I don't think he knows that he's dead.
We couldn't believe what we heard.
Micah's story began when I walked into a cornfield where Allegheny Flight 853 crashed on September 9th, 1969. I'd always heard about the Allegheny crash ever since I was in high school. I had never heard of anything so horrific. It boggled my mind that so many people had died in this plane crash. It was the first plane crash I had ever heard about. The cause of the crash was a mid-air collision. The Cessna flew into the tail end of the Allegheny commercial plane, causing the crash. Rescue people came from miles around. Ambulance people, fire departments, police departments, any volunteers. Hundreds of people showed up. It became a recovery effort. A few years after we had been married, we started paranormal investigating. We became paranormal enthusiasts. We knew the anniversary of the crash was coming up on September 9th, 2009. And I had received a letter from someone that had a loved one that died on the plane. He expressed an interest that if we were going to go out there, he would like to know anything we found. I started asking questions. Was someone here? Rods crossed. Were you going to St. Louis? I asked if it was a male, rods crossed. Then I asked if it was female, the rods did not cross. Through those questions with the dowsing rods, I was able to determine that it was a gentleman in his 50s. He had boarded the flight in Cincinnati, was on his way to St. Louis. And I said, I don't think he knows that he's dead.
Several days later, when we went back and listened to the recorder, we couldn't believe what we heard.
Right after I had said, I don't think he knows he's dead, we got the EVP that says, did we crash?
It really made you think, what is going on out there?
Our jaws dropped. We weren't expecting to get anything that clear. I thought, oh my goodness, it's 40 years later. What has time seemed like to him? After we heard the EVP, we felt like we really needed to go back to the field again to, number one, see if we could talk to this gentleman some more. Number two, see if we could communicate with any other spirits that might be there.
It seems like each time we went out there, it seems like we was getting more spirits coming to us.
One of them was a stewardess that was on the flight and reading internet postings about the crash. We did determine her name was Patricia. She was supposed to have gotten married within days of that flight. She was very excited about it. Her fiance was a pilot for Allegheny Airlines. He was to have been on that flight also, but got called off to actually fly another plane.
I believe that was a destiny flight. Back then, in 1969, people could give tickets to each other and they could swap seats and stuff.
A lot of people on that flight, they had either missed their connections or they didn't want to wait for their connections. So there ended up being a lot of people on this flight that weren't supposed to be on there originally.